All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Piali Callahan, and I'm joined by my colleagues Nancy Target and Cynthia Cedeno from Miller Branch, Howard County Library System. We welcome everyone to our monthly business roundtable focusing on a local business owner by a person of color in Howard County. We are recording this session and real-time captions are available for this class. Please click the CC button on your Zoom window to toggle them on or off. These captions are automatically generated by Zoom and may contain some errors. We ask that you mute your mic during the presentations. We will have time for all of your questions, so please type them in the chat, and we will also leave time for questions at the end of the presentation. Tonight, our guest is Brian Smith, founder and CEO of EduSerc. Brian will share the experiences and challenges he faces as a local business owner. The discussion tonight is moderated by Nat Alston, chair and founder of the Ujamaa Business Roundtable. Now we are going to turn this over to Nat to introduce Brian and get us started.
Thank you, Piali. Thank you so much for the Howard County Library System, and welcome to our monthly Business Roundtable Showcase. And tonight, I am extremely proud also to introduce to you our guest for tonight, Brian Smith, the CEO, founder of EduSerc. And Brian, we're definitely glad to have you with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nat, and also to the Howard County Public Library System as well, too. Thank you for having me.
Great. Glad to have you here. And really, this is one of the things that we want to share first to get it out there. Brian, you're celebrating now 25 years of EduSerc being in business. So first and foremost, congratulations on celebrating 25 years. I think that's what, a silver anniversary, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. So we're 25
so happy
years.
Anniversary, 25 years. Wow.
Yes.
Boy,
yes.
That is a long time. And yes, I got to throw a little bit of humor in there, because I think 25 years ago, if we go back, you and I probably had a lot more hair than we have now.
Yes, yes, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very true about that.
So 25 years ago, Brian, that puts us back a lot of years now. That puts us back in 1990 what?
1996.
1996. Wow. Yes. So really, to begin this now, 1996, 25 years earlier, you decided, I'm going to go into business for myself. So tell us, really, what was going on in your mind around 1996 for you to even launch EduSerc?
Well, in 1996, at that time, I actually was 1 year or so out of college. I graduated in 1995. From the University of Maryland, College Park, and I moved out to Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, to work for Motorola. I was an engineer, still am an engineer, but engineer. And while I was there, I got a lot of time. It was my first time really being away from home. But I got a chance to really think a lot about my life and the things that I've done in the past and a lot of my personal experiences and just the community service that I love to do. And I wanted to see how I can kind of continue that more and more. And while I was out there in Arizona, I got a chance, I had an epiphany in a way to related to my future, to what I believe my purpose was, which was trying to help other students to receive the kinds of opportunities that I had when I was in high school and when I was in college, to kind of help pay it forward and to do it hopefully in a way where, you know, it would be always long lasting. So that's kind of where the dream and where the idea of starting a nonprofit or starting a business in general to do it and to have it be a nonprofit, I was kind of started back then.
Now, you said the nonprofit versus business. What made you decide to really go down that particular road and not the entrepreneur, business, private sector road, so to speak?
Well, for the purpose of serving the community and doing career and professional development, I have always been involved in various other after-school programs, Saturday programs, and things throughout the year when I was through my high school and even college years. that were always based on nonprofit organizations. So I kind of felt like, when I start this mission, it should be a nonprofit. And then also it would be great where people can donate to it, people can get involved. And many people love missions, obviously, when they're focused on the community and they are nonprofits. So I wanted to do that for this mission to be sort of something we can get a 501c3 status for instead of an actual corporation and business.
Okay. And now you're out there in Arizona.
Yes.
Did you start it there or did you start it here in Maryland? And how did you come up with the name? So I got two questions on that. Was it started in Arizona?
Yes, it was. So I started in Mesa, Arizona. I founded it out there. And then a year later, when I moved back to the DC area, the DMV, and I just moved all of our operations to the DC area. And so the name EduSerc is pretty interesting because some people have a difficult time sometimes saying it or wondering how to say it. But it's a weird name. It's a little bit, but where it came about is based upon all of the types of people that helped me get to where I was. I mean, when I was going through high school, I graduated with 13 scholarships to go to college. I didn't have to pay to go to college. I was involved in many after school programs, as I kind of mentioned. And then it just has so many different types of mentors that supported me to say, you can be an engineer, or to help me with advice or tutoring and mentoring. And so I wanted to dedicate my efforts in my organization to the educators that were serving the community. And that's where I came up with the name, Educators Serving the Community. And so we tried to come up with an acronym. At first, we thought about EduCom, just looking at the words. And when we did a little research, found another business already called EduCom. And so we just kind of kept playing with the letters and said, well, let's just call it, since it's called Educators Serving the Community, let's shorten it and just call it EduSerc. And so that's where the name came about.
Fabulous. That's fantastic. I always wondered, where did it come from and all in there. So once you got the name, you got it already registered in Arizona, you brought the registration to Maryland. How did you create it now? What were some of the things that you had to put together to create it? You had a nonprofit in concept, but what was the mission and purpose and the infrastructure that you had to put together?
Well, one of the things that I was a part of before starting EduSerc, I was part of other nonprofit organizations, one of them being NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers. And when I was on their national board, I witnessed a lot of great experiences with students, but then we had some challenges, which was how do we keep this thing sustaining, and how do we, instead of always asking sponsors for money all the time and for various, even small or big, even for small things, how do we keep things self-sufficient? And so when I was out in Arizona, I talking with some friends, I think we came up with an idea, and that what we should really do is figure a way how to not eliminate needing the money, but what were we going to need the money for? So what I figured out, I said, well, what we'll do is ask ourselves for people for donations. And what I'll do is start out by asking people to give me 1 hour a year. So that's kind of how we built EduSerc. Once I came back to the DC area, I started asking my friends that were in the area, people I went to college with, can you donate 1 hour a year to me? And if you can, I'll turn that 1 hour into something great to impact a lot of students. So on my lunch hour, and then on my friend's lunch hour, once a year, I asked them to come to a school with me and talk to some students about what they did every day and why they love their job, and then do some kind of hands-on activity. And we did that for several years. And we collected so much support, just asking people for 1 hour of their time a year. You just tell me what month is good, just 1 hour. And then we got corporate support. We got people donating us some money and supplies. And that's kind of how we started to grow EduSerc, just asking for only 1 hour of support.
Wow, that is fascinating when you talk about 1 hour. So, and most people can do at least 1 hour. Like you say, you're only committing them for 1 hour a year or 1 hour a month or whatever they can do. So how many people really jumped on, let's say, the first couple of years?
Well, we collected a lot of support. So we had, wow, the first year we collected about maybe 20 people just supporting us, coming to schools and doing workshops or even putting together some presentations for us. Over the next few years, we collected about maybe 200 people that were supporting our organization, and they were coming out to the schools. We decided to host, and a few years later, we hosted a conference for just all the people that we were serving in different schools in DC, and then also in Maryland and Prince George's County at that time.
Wow, that is amazing in there. So those first formative years,
Yes.
those, and usually companies or nonprofits say the first 4 or 5 years is critical. Was
Mhm.
that the same applied to you?
It was. It really was. So in 1996, when we started then, but when we came, I think a few years later, in 2002 or so, 4 or 5 or 6, 7 years or so later or so, we wanted to host a conference, and I wanted to really bring all of these students together. Some people thought it was a little bit too soon. Maybe it was kind of expensive to try to find places to do so, and so we found one place in Maryland. It was the Baltimore Convention Center. Actually, one of my programs director at the time told me, she said, why not try Baltimore if you can't find a place down in certain areas or things were already booked. So I kept saying, no one's going to come to Baltimore. No one's going from Prince George's County or DC. It's hard for me to get people out to certain activities now. But she said, Brian, honestly, if they believe in you, if they like what you're doing, they'll follow you. And when she said that one statement, I said, I guess that might be true. And so that's kind of how, when we had that conference, that launched EduSerc really greatly, because we had a one-day event. We did it in Baltimore. We told everyone about it, and we had a dress code. And everyone had to dress up to come to our event. It's a professional conference, and it was really awesome. I mean, even though it was in Baltimore at the convention center, we invited the mayor's office. The mayor didn't come, but a representative from their children, youth, and families office came. And when he saw what we did, he asked me on stage, to say, he said, Brian, let me, before I get up and speak, he said, can give me, tell me, let me understand, who are these people in the audience? Are they from Baltimore? And I said, no, they're not. I said, they're from Prince George's and from DC area. And he said, well, did you market in Baltimore? I said, yes, I did. He says, but the conference was like $10 a person. That's the only thing we kind of charged. And he said that well, some people just kept saying it was too much money to have to come. So he said, you know what, this is what I want to do. He says, I want to be a sponsor. And he said, wait, I want to correct that. I want to be a financial sponsor. And so what he did was, at that conference, he stood up, he told everybody at the conference, there was like 200 people there. He said, I like what I'm seeing. I love all these people. All these students are dressed up on a Saturday. I haven't seen this before, and I want to keep this going in Baltimore. So the mayor's office committed right then and there and says, we want to fund this to keep this conference going and growing. And they funded it for 4 years for us, and they gave us all the money to have at the convention center. We expanded space. They paid for buses. They paid for the food. It was awesome. I mean, that one thing was great. And I just invested about a couple $1,000s from my IT company that I started just to get it going. And it was a major feat. I think my brother, my oldest brother, I remember, was telling me, he said, I don't, you're not making any money off this conference. I said, this is an investment. I don't have to make money at this moment. My goal is to prove to people that this is worth it. And it was worth it. The money came through by inviting one person and there from the mayor's office, and then they just funded it for 4 years, and we didn't have to pay for anything. So it was beautiful.
Wow, that is fascinating. That is beautiful, beautiful. Going back, EduCert itself, has it changed from when you started to where it is now? And if it has, how and what has been some of the maybe accomplishments and some of the maybe challenges now?
Yeah, so EduSerc has changed a lot over the years. In the beginning, we were just only doing workshops, going into schools and just talking to kids about career development. But as time went on, we began to do other kinds of activities and programs, like hands-on activities. Schools started to kind of, we piqued their interest when it came to industry development. And so we got offers to run small different programs. So we expanded. We did a summer program at Capital College University there, Capital Technical University there. And once we did that one program, our summer program circuit kind of began happening. We did programs at Howard County, obviously. We did things in Baltimore, all around the DMV area. And from there, it just kept expanding to now doing programs around the country. So it really has expanded, just from doing workshops all the way to now doing professional development training for teachers to teach them, or employees to teach them how to communicate with students the way how we're doing it, and doing other industry trainings in STEM, culinary, filmmaking, and the like. So we just have expanded from just those first few years all the way to reaching out to so many other environments and target groups.
Well, you said, listening to you, that you've expanded all over the country. Are there any cities that now you can mention that you've expanded to now that know what you're doing and supporting you in this?
Yes, so we have implemented EduSerc's programs through many partners and our owned as well too in Buffalo, New York, Chicago, Illinois, in Charlottesville, Virginia, in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Salt Lake City, and wow, many places all around, obviously the DM and DMV, but also down in Atlanta and Orlando too. So we're hopeful to kind of continue that and keep spreading that, in other countries if we can. But those are some of the cities that we have a big presence in.
Wow, when you mentioned Salt Lake City, going all the way out there to the west, and then you down to Orlando, I'm going to ask now a question now, I guess, with the pandemic, and this two-part question. How has that affected you? And now with this digital platform, how has it also affected your business?
Well, when the pandemic happened last year, it was obviously a shock to the system for our organization because we were doing many of our programs in partnerships with schools and other nonprofits as well. So, a lot of once we were out of the schools, it made it very difficult to shift a little bit. But we did. We still hosted our conferences. We still made our marks with our students up until May. And then afterwards, I think there was a lot of things in the air. Many people just didn't know whether we were opening up as a country or not. And then parents were kind of concerned, obviously, about having their children interact and themselves with other people. So we had to shift to online. And so it was very difficult for the organization. We didn't have any summer programs, at least. But what we did was we did have a leadership program called our IPLD program. And so we did that remotely. It was already successful. So that kept going throughout the year, through the pandemic. And so it served us really well, connecting a lot of our mentors from Chicago and Atlanta and in Maryland, all together with our students from Buffalo and all around the country. So it worked out to be pretty good for us, still communicating, connecting, and collaborating.
Well, you mentioned the LD. Say, what was that acronym again? We missed that, and so you could explain what that basically is.
Absolutely. So the IPLD is the Industry Pipeline Leadership Development Program. And so that program actually is one of it's a mixture of almost all of the things that we've done because we've had so many different types of programs in EduSerc. We've had after school programs, we've had technical training programs, we've had field trips where on the days when schools were closed, that's when we ran those field trips. And that served to be so beneficial and financially for us, as well as growing our membership base in the organization. So we kind of like combined all of our programs together and put it into a leadership development program where, again, on those days, parents are registered 5 times a year. We're taking students on field trips to different colleges and companies and, paying for the food, obviously, for the students and the buses, nice charter buses, leather buses. The students love that, taking them in style to all these different places. And then we took them to our conference. We did technical training and paired them up with mentors. So it was a full service type of support program. We even trained the parents, and the parents, they are all required. All the parents are required. If there's students in the program, they are required to attend our sessions. At least one parent is required. And they all are there, and they become our PAC, our parent advisory committee for everything that we do. So it's always worked out really great. We're training them. We're teaching them how to get scholarships for their kids. We're helping them with their finances. It's a really good service for the entire family. So all of our efforts have been now into the IPLD program, and it's just been great. So virtually it works out for us at the moment, but we can't wait to get back to doing our field trips. The students want to do those field trips. I mean, they were really fun. We had a lot of fun going to the colleges, meeting people and doing things interactively in those labs at hospitals and at the government or at Northrop Grumman. We got to get back to those field trips.
Well, I can tell you, listening to you, I'm just blown away, and several thoughts in my mind. Now, the first one, and I'll get back to maybe some questions later, but how do you manage all of this? Really, that's what I was thinking. My goodness. You've got so many programs going on with so many students. So how do you manage, and how many students now are in your program?
So, well, maybe I can answer the second question first,
Okay.
because how I'm managing it is a very good question. But for our programs, I mean, every year we have, I mean, this pandemic has obviously have lowered our numbers because we weren't operating with many students, this past year. But typically on an average year, we're servicing about an average of 500 students a year.
Mm,
And that's nationwide. So that's with most of those students obviously are in the DMV area. We're doing maybe a summer program for a local school system with 200 students, maybe in math and science, STEM, science, technology, math, and engineering.
mhm,
It may be a local contract or grant that we may have received. We may be doing something for a week or maybe a month. Other times, other students we may have, I think, or like are remotely at other sites, and those
mhm.
are through our IPLD program, or they have been through a partner, Northrop Grumman, which has been a great sponsor and collaborator of ours to help us grow nationally. So
Great.
that's the second question as far as how many students, 500 average per year. But how am I managing all of this and how are we doing this? Honestly, I'm still trying to figure all of that out, how it happens. But I think the easier answer is that we look at things in zones because most
Okay.
of our students we're servicing are always over the summer. And we do a lot of our hiring then. We have programs that are during the week and we just schedule them. Everything is about scheduling because and time management. And we did that. I would honestly say that was our biggest asset and skill that we used in the very beginning, managing people's time to come 1 hour a year to those schools. We do the same thing to this very day, where we say 1 hour, or we don't say necessarily 1 hour, but 4 hours or so of mentoring a student per month in our leadership programs is what we ask for. And that's only like the first Saturday of every month. So that leaves a lot of other days for us to do many other things. And so we
Mhm.
put our efforts in pockets. So that's kind of how we manage a lot of the things we're doing, and it
Mhm.
works out.
I'm thinking too, when you had those 25 years that you had the students going through your program, what are some of the successes? Have they come back to you, or can you shine up maybe 3 or 4 of your students that have gone through the program now? And where are they? The question is, where are they now? Any
Yeah,
examples of those?
absolutely. So we've had one student. I have many I can think about right now. One of them, his name is Anuj Mehta, and Anuj met him in Chicago, trained and worked with him in a summer program through Northrop Grumman's Worthy program there. But we designed the entire effort, and so when we were working with him through EduSerc's efforts there, he graduated there from. Out of Chicago, Illinois. I went to UIC and then now is working at full time as an engineer at Northrop Grumman and here locally in the area. So he actually moved here to the area. So Anuj has been helpful. He's always been supportive and supports our programs whenever he can. We have another individual. Her name is Jaya Davis. She was our first student we've ever given a scholarship to in EduSerc. She came to our conference. She's always been our keynote speaker. Now she's a realtor locally here in this area, the DMV. So she has come with me on to the radio and speak. She's still volunteers and supports us at our award show. We have an award show that we honor educators called the Educators Serving the Community Awards. So we have many students that come back, and during that award show, they'll come back and either serve as ushers, or they may speak, or they help us to recruit other individuals and students to our programs. So Jaya Davis is one, Anuj Mehta is another. Ebony Rogers, she's another individual. She's a physical therapist here in the area as well too. So we have many students we keep in contact with from time to time.
That's fantastic, really. Well, you're just blowing me away on terms of what you're doing in terms of the community and to students out there. 25 years. What have you learned looking back?
I've learned so much. I think the one thing I've learned is how to be, throughout all of these years, I've learned how to be a better leader. And I've learned, I've learned how to communicate better to so many different types of personality types, as
Mm,
far as me building my skill sets. And so through that, I've had some formal training on how to do that using the DISC method. And then I just
mhm.
have been trying to pass that along. The other things I've learned that many of our issues in our local area are sort of the same in a lot of other areas as well too. So there's so many similarities, and then obviously there are some differences. I mean, I've learned that whatever works here may also possibly work in another city. It's just about finding that right formula. And then, but some of the differences, I did learn that certain people appreciate things differently. And so we kind of learned how to adjust our strategy as a business to stay alive and to stay afloat. When we worked with different types of people in different environments, we had to figure that out a little bit better. And then we switched and changed our strategy so that we can, as I mentioned earlier, just keep going.
Great, great, great. What do you see in the future really for you? The next, I don't want to say the next 25 years. I don't want to think that far out, but let's say the next 5 years really, because this pandemic has changed a lot of the business models out there. Has it changed yours? And if so, how do you see it now moving the next 5 or so many years?
Well, this pandemic has definitely changed our business model. It has made it obviously there's been some challenges. I wouldn't necessarily say negatives, but some challenges for us. But it yielded some positives for us as well. So the next 5 years or the future for EduSerc is really going to be about expanding our programs to make it more diverse, meaning that we're looking to go outside the country to do more leadership programs, to expand even beyond that. I've already traveled in 2012, a little earlier, to India, and I served as the ambassador for education for UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization here locally. Had an opportunity to go and learn about how other people are appreciating education and what they're doing to get by. And it really opened my eyes just seeing some of the differences with students in India, as well as to here in the United States. And it really made me want to continue to explore other areas in different countries, different continents, to see how we can help other students, connect them all together. I mean, this world now, this pandemic has allowed us to bring the whole world together over Zoom or over Microsoft Teams or other kinds of, social media or whatever platforms. We want to kind of keep that going. This has been a benefit now for us to do more worldwide things. So for us, it's going to be going outside of our comfort zone a little bit of just staying here locally and learning how to take our career development on the road to other places.
Fantastic. Before we continue, if there's any questions that anyone has that for Brian, please put them in the chat so I can definitely pull those up and have your questions posed to Brian and he can answer those. But so we'll wait for anyone to have any questions in the chat. And if I don't see anyone, the next question, Brian, that I'm thinking about too, you're grown. How many employees? I know you can't be a one-person shop now. You just can't with all those things going. So how have you grown from an idea? So now how many employees or people do you have working with you?
Well, we have about 10 people that work with our organization now. And so, we usually ramp up towards the summers when we're doing summer programs. But typically our organization's been, right now throughout the year, about this year, at least about 10 people working with us. But on our average year before, pre-pandemic, we have about 30 to 35 people working for EduSerc all around the country. And doing various different types of programs. We've even kind of expanded even more, depending upon if we get a new contract. Obviously, we're hiring some more people, but an average of 30, 35 on our good years.
And then students you can go up to, as you say, close to 200 to 500 or
That's correct. That's correct. So an average between 250 up to 500 maximum total nationwide. Most of our students are really in the DMV area. I'd say about 350 of those students are in the DMV area. 150 or so are all in other places.
And when you say the DMV, I'm assuming you're talking about Howard County, Prince George's County, those surrounding areas. Any schools here in the area that you're connected with, if I may?
Yes. So we're connected with different schools, many schools. Some of those schools in the area. Wow, let's see. We have charter schools in DC. I know we've had partnerships with Friendship Charter Schools, with Prince George's County Schools all together. Also with Howard County, there was a couple schools in Howard County that we have in the past have had some relationships with doing programs. I'm also a part of working with other schools in Montgomery County. We're all around really just in different places, different types of schools. The boards that I sit on, we service like a large number of schools, if you will, with internships, helping students with internships, working for us. We have students that work for us now, actually, throughout this pandemic and getting their community service hours or getting paid to do certain things. So that's the other service that we're providing to students in the meantime.
Now, would you go into, when you say schools, would you go into the schools themselves, or is it with the school administration, or what, or how?
Yeah.
How would you be introduced to that?
Yes. So typically we go and talk with the school's administrators about our programs. But one of the best strategies that we have developed over, I think probably I'd say over the last 8 years or so, or 9 years, have been that we have recruited parents to do the marketing for us. When we typically go into a school, like a cold call or just coming in, many other organizations do the same thing, and no one really has a reason to really trust us or believe that what we say is great, because everybody's going to say what they do is great. So what we typically have done, we learned that when we had a parent experience our programs, like we used to do we would do free programs. They're one-day programs. Parents would come, bring their children, they would love it. And we'd say, if you wanted to continue this, go ahead and talk to your school and the principal. We would tell them exactly what to do. And that's kind of how we got into many schools. We got into Catholic schools and private schools in the area, doing large projects for the entire school. We had, which is St. Philip's is one, St. Philip's Catholic School down in Temple Hills. We had a relationship with CMIT as well there, South. For a good while with the principal there. She's really great. And all of the staff there. And that was all through our parents. Our parents were the ones that got to the administration and talked to them and says, we would support these programs. I mean, as parents, we want to support them. We want our kids in there. What do we need to do to make this happen? And every time a parent walked in to talk to the principal on our behalf and then invited us in, we got a program right there in that entire school.
That is great. That is great.
Yeah.
Got a couple questions in the chat room, and one is, if someone is looking to support your nonprofit, what is the best way to do that?
Absolutely. So a few ways. One, obviously, is going to our website, which is eduserc.org, EDUS as in Sam, ERC.org. Going to the website and clicking on, first of all, you can click on donate. And the donate button at the very top, or eduserc.org/donate. And then you can donate to our organization. You could also sign up to be a volunteer at our website as well for any of our programs, or just get up onto our mailing list, and then we'll send you additional information about getting involved in any of our services or activities. So that's the website's really the best way. Going there, signing up, and then also donating and contributing.
Great. Another question we got in here too in the chat. What are the ages of your students, high school or college or both?
We work with a large number of students. We work starting from first graders all the way through college.
Really?
So we do. So most of our students are middle school and high school students that we work with most of the time. But those that are in elementary, we're working with them after school, most of their after school programs and Saturday-based programs.
Okay.
College students, we're working with them typically in smaller groups. So, they'll call our office and we'll talk to them about helping them with their personal development or help them with internships, or they're working with us through an internship.
Great. I didn't know that you started that early on that. Well, they say the earlier you start, the better it is. That's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you something else, Nat, which is pretty interesting. EduSerc started only working with middle school and high school students in 1996, all the way up until I'd say 2005, or 2006. And the reason we went to work with elementary students at that time, honestly, was because of my son. We had our son, we had, got, married and had children and so forth. And my son, we needed a place. I was doing all these summer programs, but needed a place to put him. He was in first grade, and I'm thinking, well, gosh, what places, what are we going to do? And I thought, why don't we just design some programs for elementary kids? And I could have him in there too, with me. So that's really where it began. And then my neighbors, all of our neighbors, we knew, I mean, a lot of other parents with kids, and we just populated the program with people that we knew, and they paid, and it was great. And we grew it from there. And our elementary aspects kind of grew with our own children. So
you
and
became an EduSerc daycare center there for your students, so to speak.
I believe that's kind of how it started. But I tell you that we always believe in low hanging fruit. If it's right there,
Right.
that's why the fruit's hanging low, so you can grab it and go and build it from there. It was always difficult walking into a school saying we can do a program, and so they're like, really? Everybody's saying you can do that, and there's a lot of politics and things involved. But if we just talk to everybody we already knew, we already got the approval because they already know us and like us and trust us. So we just started it there, and then we had to take pictures, take video, get testimonies, and then we took that to the schools. And then they said, oh, wow, you got all these people in these programs. And then strategically, what we did was I didn't realize this is what we were doing, but it turned out that some of the people's, the kids in our programs, their parents were people that were in the school system. They were administrators. They were the children of administrators in school systems in different countries, in different companies. And so they became advocates. That's kind of how we started to grow. So they loved it. The kids went home. And the next thing you know, their parent says, well, we want to go ahead and have this program in our school because we've heard about it. My kid was in it, or my grandchild was in it. And so that's how we kept expanding.
Wow, that is something else. Boy, wow. So in 25 years, your son matriculated through your program now, and others, and they're now your biggest advocates out there. That is super.
Absolutely.
Again, folks, if you have any questions for Brian, please put them in the chat. We're talking to Brian Smith, the founder, CEO, par excellence of EduSerc, which is now celebrating its 25th anniversary of being a nonprofit, but really making a difference in our community. So 25 years, Brian, really, I'm just fascinated to see an organization such as yours at 25 years. Again, I'm going back to a previous question. As you look along the landscape now and you're seeing what's out there really, what's your next dream? What's your next thought? This was a dream, 1996. Where does Brian Smith go from here?
Wow, I'm still answering that question. But I would say really where does Brian K. Smith go from here? I would say, if I can, I'd say again, my goal is to travel. My goal is to take this on the road. My goal is to build more. We want to have our own major property. We want to have our own building. We want to have a lot of bigger things that we can do out in the community. And that's the bigger dream, is to take EduSerc to make it more, have our major big brick and mortar. We've already had brick and mortar buildings, places that we've worked and so forth before. It's not a problem, but we want to now grow larger into other areas and have affiliates of our organization. That's really the next major step when it comes to EduSerc. And for me, again, is to kind of travel and do as much as I can out in the different places to be that spokesperson and to be the trainer to build those affiliates and, build a legacy.
Great. Any questions from our audience? Please put them in the chat and we'll answer those, or ask Brian to answer those, really, not myself. Brian, as we wrap up in terms of a close, what words of wisdom would you give for a person that's wanting to start a business or start a nonprofit and all? Because as I mentioned to you earlier, the question, how did you take that route to the nonprofit versus the entrepreneurship around there? What words of wisdom now, after 25 years, would you pass on to members of our listening audience now, our Zoom audience here?
I've learned so many things in business. I mean, I run the nonprofit. I do run an IT company as well, too. And I've learned so many lessons. I have some really great mentors that have taught me so many things. I would say my advice and piece of information to pass on is that whatever idea that you have for a business, make sure that the people that you want to serve thinks also it's a good idea. And that's sometimes one of the things that we might miss. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you may say, oh, I think this is a great idea. And then you just continually for a couple of years, push, because you think it's great. But if the people you're trying to serve doesn't really buy it, they don't get it, if it's not clear, if they don't see it as a need in their lives, then you may not be as successful. And so it's important to figure that out and do that market research and ask, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I mean, it takes a lot of humility, because sometimes your great idea may not fly with some people. And then other times your idea may actually be really great, but you have to have enough passion to keep moving forward, and also still enough knowledge to know how to do what you need to do. So I would say my major piece of advice really is to do your research and ask people, what do you think about this particular idea? Do you think that it's really great? And that kind of helps out to see whether your business idea is going to be awesome. The last thing I'd say, there's one last thing I'd like to share too with that is I think of other successful businesses and I try to understand what their model is. And I try to use those things into my business. And like the Costco model, I like Costco because, or BJ's and so forth. I say the Costco model because the Costco model is where you walk in and you get a sample of something. And typically after you've eaten that sample, you like it, they'll say, well, it's right down the aisle, right down there, just right in the freezer. That's where this is. And so I've learned in business to make sure that not everybody will always believe everything you say. So it's good to kind of show an example, provide proof, focus on building a past performance. And that's the effort that I put into my business is to, if I feel my business is worth somebody investing in, then I should invest in it first. I have to put my foot into it as well and my efforts. And then that actually shows that if I'm willing to take the risk, then yes, then it's worth it for me to ask you to take the risk too. And that has been something I had to learn. No one taught me that. I really had to learn that. And it served me so well, so great. So now many people call me a risk taker or crazy at times when I come up with ideas. But I'm like, no, I'll do this idea. I'll invest in it. You'll watch it, see it work. And then now there's safety. There's safety in that. And it's helped my business grow and stay in business. People don't know, my sponsors know I'm not afraid to test an idea out with my efforts. And then when they see that comes about, they're easy to support it. They'll write checks. And that's like, oh, great. It's perfect. We've seen the proof.
Great. Got several more questions before we close in here. One question right now. What is the most difficult part of your business, do you think?
We have a few. I'd say the most difficult part of our business is, I would say really it is trying to retain some of the efforts that we do in certain schools because leadership changes. We have principals that changes at schools. We have people that change, the changing of the guards happen from year to year. And then we have to kind of remarket all over again when someone doesn't really know who we are, even if we have a parent base. New leaders come in and they want to do their thing. And they don't want to keep the consistent efforts and work in progress that we've started. So that's been the biggest thing, have been we start something great and we planted the seeds and things are starting to grow. And some things may have harvested, but to keep the harvest going, we got to keep planting and we got to keep sowing those seeds. And some people just tear things up and just say, we're going to do it all over again, do something different. So that's been the most difficult part of our job.
Okay, great. Another question we've got, how do you think fundraising has changed or will change with the increase in technology, social media, and even, I like this, fake nonprofits or business startups? Very good question there, Lord. Thank you.
You said fake nonprofits?
Fake nonprofit or business startup.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, there's, technology has been a very great asset to so many people because we've been able to reach people that we haven't been able to do so. And at the same time, do things more consistently, because when you're trying to fundraise, you've got to hit people a few times. Marketing says you've got to hit people a few times, not just once, to get them to remember things, to want to buy into things, and to keep things moving. So technology has really helped us, and it's going to help everybody else moving forward. But I do think that one of the downsides of technology and fundraising is that it does not always provide you the opportunity to give your flavor and your feeling for why people should be giving that money. Sometimes things can get so robotic that I see a message, I see this, I hear this is a big organization, we'll just give to this, and so forth. Or maybe I just won't. We've gotten so inundated with technology. I think sometimes we've learned to ignore things, and we're not really feeling like, why should I really do this? So I think that, and we become skeptical. And I can see those fake nonprofits and those fake organizations that people are trying to siphon money and get money. So I think it's a good thing, but there has been some challenges. I would say for us though, we use technology very strategically, meaning the fact that we're not always sending emails out. We're not always doing that. Typically, we only use the technology just to prove that we have done some great work. And we use it as proof. We always keep using it to say, this is what we've done. Go to our YouTube page. You'll see all these videos. You can go to our website, see a lot of pictures. And we keep going with that from that side of it for our fundraising. But we don't usually we don't like to inundate people with a lot of mail and a lot of spam. A lot of that, it works for some people, but not for us. We like to just make sure to keep that human aspect into it. And it works out for us. It really, really does. Altogether. But
so you really putting in there, I hear, and I really got very strong emotional when you said keeping that human element in there, because most people start thinking, well, tech is going to basically kick me out, so to speak. But your theme has always been, let's keep that human element in there.
Absolutely. We've received contracts for schools just by marketing on our Facebook page, just some of the things we've done. We're not asking people for money. We're just talking about some of the things we've done. We did this, we did this, we did that. People's like, oh, that's great. They're liking it and so forth. And because we know that there's going to be a time that someone's going to need something, and then they're going to think, EduSerc, Brian does that. And that's exactly, like, this is how we expanded into Chicago for our IPLD program. We got to sponsor SAP, which is great. They pay for the food. They help sponsor a lot of things for us. SAP has been our newest sponsor the last couple of years for the IPLD program. How did we get SAP? Well, a friend of mine actually now works there, but at the time he's been seeing a lot of our posts. And then he just said, you know what, there's an opportunity that came up because we have some money in a budget. We're trying to find an organization to work with. And I thought about you because I saw all these things y'all been doing, and I see the history, and I see it, and I feel safe in doing it. And the guy said, and I know you too, because I'm connected to you. So that's how we got into SAP, and we started working and servicing students in Chicago in the last couple of years through our program. I mean, we've got a lot of hits from just basically doing that, not asking people for money, but when we ask for money, then we do get the support. It's like, oh, absolutely, no problem. You need this, bam. So we're planting a lot of seeds. We do a lot of seed planting, actually, as an organization. That's what EduSerc does.
That's very, very good. That's really something that even for-profit business may want to think about also. At the same time, your business being a nonprofit focusing, I hear those key words in there. Hey, you got the human element, you're showing the history of what you do, and the students that you are servicing are really the ambassadors to your program. And people know, they, as you said, they feel safe in getting involved and contributing to your organization in terms of money and services and times and all.
Yes.
What do you see are right now as you grow from our listening audience? What are your immediate needs right now? I know you always need money, sure, but what are your immediate needs now in terms of people, the people aspect of it?
We're for this 25th year, we're going back to our original strategy, which is where we're looking to take that and hopefully multiply that 25-fold, which is to ask people to give us 1 hour a year of their time or give us some of their time.
Mhm.
I mean, just sign up as a volunteer, go to our website, say, I'd like to volunteer. And then we kind of get you going in doing that. We believe that 1 hour, and we think of it like this way. Ask yourself, how much is your time really worth for an hour? I mean, some people say I'm underpaid. Well, what is that really time worth per hour? All of your knowledge. Is it worth $100 an hour? Is it worth $500 an hour? Or whatever it is. We want to be able to take that value and replicate that back out again. The more people that we can recruit back again to help us expand to talk to different types of audiences. It doesn't matter. I mean, what cultural background, what gender, it doesn't matter what geographical location that you're in. Everybody needs a little help and support, and we have to bring our world together to help with that, to take advantage of our diverse assets, in our communities. And so that's what we're trying to do. We need more help with people, mentoring, supporting, giving us, again, that 1 hour or even more, and serving as that advocate for us in their organizations. That's how we grow. And that's how we can get access to the money. The money comes that way. And the money comes in a lot of different ways past that. But we need more people to say, we believe in EduSerc. We want to see this grow. I want to give my 1 hour, or I would like to mentor one student once a month for a couple hours. I can do that. Just help another child, tell them about your story. And just by doing that, trust me, it's really going to help. There's someone out there is looking for somebody just like you. We like to pair them up together and then and help them grow and succeed.
Yeah, you mentioned that time, and I'm always reminded of the 3 T's: that time, talent, and treasure.
Yes.
And it doesn't always have to be money.
Yes.
But you can give us your time, your talent, and your treasure. Now, I'm
Yes.
assuming, go ahead.
I was going to say, yes, no, time is so important. We value people a lot, so much in EduSerc. I mean, that's why in the beginning, we asked people just to donate us their time, because when we figured out that if we were going to ask people for money, what we were going to use that money for, we were going to pay some people to come to the schools, like give them an honorarium and so forth. And then sometimes we take the money for computers or copies at Kinko's or something like that. And so I just said, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to ask my friends first, people that I know that will say yes. And then I create a big picture of people. People don't have to know they're my friends, but they're still great industry professionals with all this varied background. We started there. And then after that, I went to schools and asked the schools. Actually, one principal thought I was kind of silly and thought he just thought I wasn't a good business person, because he said, well, I wrote him a contract and said, I'd like to come into your school and do a lot of our programs for free. And I'd like to come and talk to your students once a month, and I'll bring people here, and it's all going to be free. Only thing I want to do is that I'm going to have some copies to give to your students. And we'd like to be able to come in and make copies of the items for our programs when we need to, and use your equipment, your LCD projector, your laptop. And he was like, sure, we have that stuff sitting over there. That's not a problem. And this is going to be free. Sure. But he thought, you're not going to ask for money, but what it was that all the money we were going to ask was going to go to all those supplies he had in the school. So his school ended up becoming, the contract we wrote basically made his school our own personal Kinko's. And he didn't know that, he didn't realize that. So we could come into the school at any time and make copies and use their items. And it was great, but he didn't mind. The principal didn't mind, but it was great because it was all for those students. It was all for their students. And I mean, at the time, we couldn't afford ink. Ink was expensive. Back then, ink was kind of expensive for us. So it worked out. Everything worked out, just leveraging. We leveraged all of our resources.
Brian, I got to give you credit. That is truly what you call leveraging and definitely taking advantage, and the person going in there going, gee, so we were used as that.
Yeah,
But But
I had different Kinkos around the area. I could walk into the school and, and just say, "Hey, Brian, how's it going? Hey, how are you?" And then, and I'm able to
well,
get all
we
their
would call that the
supplies.
sophisticated bartering system. So, okay.
Exactly. I mean, $1,000 is great, but I was going to spend it on certain things. I don't know. I just figured that it was going to be better if I did it that way. My friends didn't mind coming out and donating time, so I didn't really have to pay them. But but as time went by, yes, I wanted to pay some of those people, and then we started to do more training programs, and we grew from there.
Brian, I have to say we've got 2 minutes left, but this has been very inspiring. I've known you for quite some time, but never had the time to really sit down and ask questions and just listen in 25 years of what you've been doing. And I don't know about our audience, but it's truly been inspiring and also innovative. Because you basically, I'll be very candid with you, you've blown my mind in the sense of, I always thought engineers was always linear.
Yeah, right.
So forgive me in that assessment as your friend, but you told me now you've broken that mold, or at least the stereotype that I may have had in the past. You had to be innovative, and to see it really work in a nonprofit arena where you were mission driven because you had a cause, a mission, and a purpose. And I can see now when I ask you what's the next 25 years, I can see where the next 25 years are going to be, because you're always going to have that pool of students there who will need people like you to take it to the next level.
I appreciate that. I wanted to say one thing. When you said the word innovative, one of our core main programs we still have to this very day is called Young Innovators, which all it is we just teach students how to be innovative, literally. I mean, we teach them how to think things through, how to create anything out of anything, and that's one of the things I would say is one of the harder things when it comes to being one of our instructors, because we train, all of our instructors how to do everything. But then when we give them a task to work with the students, we give them about 70 or 80% of the actual work that needs to be done. And we help what we're trying to do is have the trainer show the students how to be innovative, which means how are you now going to figure this problem out? In other words, we don't give all the answers to all of our instructors. We don't ever do that. We say, right, we know that you know how to do this, but now we're going to build a drone, and we're going to build a global communication system, or we're going to build these things. And we need you now you're not a teacher. Don't think like a teacher where you have the answer key. What we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to be innovative, because that's what's required in life. At times, you're going to have to figure things out. You're going to have to somehow come up with ideas or come up with solutions. And every single person in this world will have to do that at some point, sometimes every single day. And so these are the skills we do in EduSerc. We're teaching people how to think creatively and successfully. And so that's all of EduSerc. I mean, we have our award show that we have. We have a red carpet award show I didn't even talk about that we host. We've hosted, it was on TV before through Channel 7. We've had it at the Strathmore. We honor educators for the great things we do. Red carpet ceremony, really great big trophy that we give out to people for the great things that they've done. And I mean, there's so many other small things. We have our own magazine, Young Innovators magazine, a lot of other things that we've built over the years that we're planning on showcasing even more. So we're excited. I'm really excited for these 25 years.
I can see that. And really, I can say this on the behalf of the Howard County Library System, the Ujamaa Business Roundtable. Brian, this has been absolutely fantastic. You have been inspiring to me, and hopefully inspiring also to our listening audience. We thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us. We congratulate you. I sincerely congratulate you on 25 years. And we pray and hope that the next 25 years will take you to heights that you can't even imagine. So again, Thank you so much for taking the time out to be part of our Ujamaa Business Roundtable Showcase. So again, thank you so much, folks. Back to Nancy and her team. Again, thank you, Howard County Library Systems. This will be on their website again. And on the behalf, again, of the Ujamaa Business Roundtable, please turn in next month, July. We've got another exciting business showcase person we're going to highlight. So again, Brian, again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nat. I really appreciate your time. The Ujamaa Business Roundtable and Howard County Public Libraries system as well too. Thank you so much, Nancy, and everybody, the whole staff and everyone. Thank you so much for your time and allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian and Nat, for your time. What a lot of information to digest. We wish you continued success and congratulations on your 25 years. And we look forward to what you're doing and what you continue to do. So thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and turn off the recording. We want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Try to stay cool out there, and we will be back next month. Thank you again. Good night.